All right. Well, I see everyone is still jumping in on the live trading room. So good morning. I hope everyone had a good weekend. And for everyone on YouTube, hope you had a great weekend. And let's get right at it with a new week, new month, new quarter. And I'm really excited. I've traded a little bit of pre-market already in the green for the morning, so I have a little bit of less pressure to to hit my daily goal. I'm probably one or two trades away from that. So already starting off the day with the right foot forward. The first stock I'm going to go over is Nnox. So this was the stock that I traded in pre-market when it broke out of the 64 range. You can see that it traded up to 72. So I did trade that long. Not the whole write up. I did take my profits at like 67 bucks, and it rode another $5 ahead of me. So I left a little bit of money on the table. But this stock is gapping up pretty nicely because of an FDA approval. So with that being said, I like the volatility. I like the volume. It's good. And I think it's still going to be in play today. So the way I see it with the current setup, if it breaks above this like $68 range, I'm going to take a stab at it to go long and put my stops at like 66. Only going to give it a 2-point range. And I think this stock could definitely ride up, test that pre-market high of 72, 73, and maybe even go higher. If it starts to fade off, really the range that I'm going to look at is to see if it can hold this like $61, $62 range, right? Because that's where it consolidated really nicely in pre-market. So if it holds that range, then it's still in play, and the buyers or the bulls are still in control of it. But if we just see profit taking and you see it fail 63, 62, 61, we can look for a setup to short it. I don't think that this will just fade. I mean, from an FDA approval, stocks do tend to go on a nice run. So that's what I'm looking for today on Nnox. I don't know if it trades. I don't know if options are available. I haven't checked. I just plan to trade it with equity, but we could take a quick look while we're at it.
Yep, they're available.
Options are available? Okay, so for you options traders, Nnox is available. Just be careful if it's spready. I've never traded this with options before, so if it's a spready contract, move on to something else that has a little bit better volume. Another name that I'm going to have on my A list is Norwegian Cruise Lines. So Norwegian Cruise Lines just submitted a reopening plan to the CDC to begin sailing July 4th. Let's see if it gets approved. But what we do know is that the CDC is saying that all staff members and travelers need to be fully vaccinated, right, to get on these ships. So, the cruise lines are popping on this news. I'm preferably going to trade Norwegian Cruise Lines, but you could see Royal Caribbean is popping on it. Carnival Cruise Line is popping on it. I just like to trade Norwegian. It had a really nice bull flag formation here at like the 28.90 range, popped up 40 cents, and right now it's still flagging. I would prefer a little bit of a pullback on it, maybe test 29, bottoming tail bar, go long, right? That would be my preferred setup. If this just rips out of the gates, I'm just going to have to maybe let it go and wait for an entry point on it. But I think the cruise lines are going to be in play today. And of course, I think the airlines are going to be in play today as well. The airlines are gapping up pretty nicely. News came out that since Thursday, I believe it was, over 6 million people were screened by TSA. That's good. There's progress. More people are moving. More people are traveling. So the airlines are getting a nice pop on it. So you could see American. You can see Delta. You could see, all the other ones, Southwest. They're all popping. Not too much volume. I do like American Airlines because it tends to trade with a little bit of heavier volume than the other ones, and Delta as well. So with American, if it breaks out of like that 24, 50, 55 range, you could probably go long, put our stops at 24, 30. Risking 20 cents on the trade for potential rip to the upside. I like American Airlines. I think the risk is very small, and it could be a good play for us. So I covered Nnox, American, Norwegian Cruise Lines, and I've got a couple other ones that are on my A list. Of course, Tesla. So Tesla reported really, really good deliveries and production, and you have analysts like Wedbush coming out and saying that it's on their best ideas list. Wedbush came out and gave it a $1,000 price target, even with a bull case of I think like $1,300. So Tesla is popping up, over 40 points on this really good news, and it's flagging and it's holding really, really nicely. I think Tesla can definitely push a little bit more. If you look at the daily chart, it sold off early March, bounced off of like the 540 range, came up to 710 where it's at right now, sold off again to 600. 600 found some really good support, and now we're 100 and almost 10 points away from that 600 bounce. So Tesla bulls are controlling the narrative still on this one. I could see Tesla on the daily chart. I could see 730 on this one easily. 723 to 730. That's kind of like what I'm seeing on it. And I mean, if we get more than that, then my goodness, Tesla, Tesla can move. So just be prepared for that. So intraday, this is what I'm seeing here. If Tesla does sell off a little bit at the open, I want to see it hold that 700 mark. If we can hold like that psychological round number of $700, maybe do like a bottoming tail bar and rip, man, that is the entry point. If Tesla right out of the gates just rips, if you see it break out of 713, and especially if it breaks out of that pre-market high of like 716, 717, it's gone. It's gone. So you just you just need to get in it if you see a rip. So it's a little difficult because you do want to get in at a better price. So I would prefer that pullback, bottoming tail bar. But you don't know if that's going to happen. So if you want to scale into it, you can. You could maybe buy a little bit now or right at the open. And if it comes down to 700, buy a little bit more, dollar cost average, and bounce it. But if you do that, I would place firm stops at like 693, 694, right? Just so your losses are not any greater than they should be, right? Pretty much, I just kind of went over like 3 different ways to trade it. The whole idea or the whole point that I'm trying to make is have a game plan. With every single trade, don't just go in blindly. Have a game plan. Protect your money. Protect your profits, and you'll be good. Another name, PLTR. PLTR came out with some really good news. They got a new contract with the government. I forgot what sector of the government it was. Let me take a look again. PLTR, where are you? I know I had you here. Oh, I got it. All right, selected by the National Nuclear Security Administration for a 5-year contract worth $90 million. Nice pop, nice contract, nice revenue. The stock is going to be in play. So it's flagging right now. If PLTR breaks out of like 23.90, I'm going long. I'm going to place my stops right here, like 23.70. Honestly, 20-cent risk on the trade for potential rip, to maybe $25. I'm down for it. I think it's an easy trade. If PLTR just sells off, just let it go. Or if you want short it, put your stops at 24, right? So that's the way I would play it if you did want to short it. 2 more names, and I'm going to pass it on to Taj. AMC. AMC is gapping up very nicely. Got a price target upgrade to $13. And when that analyst note came out, you could see here at around 7 o'clock, it just ripped from $9 to $10 right now in pre-market. So it's made a good move already. I would prefer a pullback, maybe to like 970 range, bottoming tail bar, go long, breakout, right? If this just rips right out of the gates, we're gonna have to wait for like a bull flag setup. It'd be a little too much to chase it. One last name is going to be GameStop. So GameStop is in play. They did a stock offering. They're finally raising money utilizing the elevated stock price. The stock did gap down to like 156, but it's slowly getting bought up because this is actually really good news. They're going to raise about $1 billion for the company so that they can transform the company and fundamentally make the change that they need to. They've been recruiting a lot of executives who have strong reputations, and now they're going to use this cash to revamp and revitalize the company. So at the very moment, it's actually, I know it's gapping down, but it has a mini bull flag right here. High of 176, low of about 171. So that's a 5-point range right there on that bull flag. You can go long, put your stops at 171. You want to give it more room? 165. That would be my personal recommendation for this trade. I'd prefer a little bit of a sell-off, bottoming tail bar, rip. If GameStop just starts selling off, then we'll find an entry to short it. So those are my A-list stocks. Norwegian Cruise Lines, PLTR, GameStop, AMC, Tesla, and Nnox. Taj?
Yeah, GameStop. How about them finally actually doing that? I would say they're probably a few months late, but hey, better now, better late than never. Right?
Yep, exactly.
But that being said, yeah, excellent A-list. A lot of those names I will definitely be watching out of the gates. There are just going to be about 4, maybe 5 names that I'll be adding to the list as well. One of which, if you were watching my stream, is actually BPTH. This stock just now went on a tear. There was a huge volume spike that just came in. And it looks like it says Biopath stock is trading higher as, I'm not even going to try to say that, triplet combo shows favorable safety profile in acute myeloid leukemia study. I know there's some news earlier about some phase 2 news coming out of clinical trials. So I'm sure this is just more news being released based upon that phase 2 trial. But from a technical standpoint, it looks really good. You just had some great volume come in right before the open, so that's going to be good for us looking for that volatility. So the play initially was to play the break of 930 here. Obviously, that's happened already. Shot up to nearly $10. Looking at the daily chart, now that it's cleared $10, there's really no resistance until about $11.50. And then after that, you're talking about this stock went up to $24 just last month, or about 2 months ago, actually. So there's a lot of range with this stock. Let me check the short interest on it. BPTH. Yep, there are no options available. However, this is a very cheap name. So like I said last week with trading a lot of the NFT names, maybe just use half of your account to trade, to actually trade the stock, right? To purchase shares of the stock. So you have that cash available again on Wednesday. But definitely keep an eye on this because this is A, former runner, B, the short interest or the amount of shares in the float is extremely small. We're looking at 6.9 million shares. This candlestick alone has almost 1 million. So it's doing about 1/7 of the float already just in this 5-minute time frame. So keep an eye on this. BPTH is definitely going to be on my A-list as of now. I would love to see it consolidate here over the next 10 minutes before the market opens. And then we can play that break above 989, go long around 990, throw our stops maybe around 950, and see if we can get that surge. I do think it's probably going to break here soon, but hopefully we get some type of consolidation or pullback. So that's a play with BPTH. Another one is CEMI. This company came out with some news today that they're coming out with some study material, some testing material to differentiate between COVID and the actual flu. So obviously that was really good news for the stock. Gapped up nearly 100% from the close on Thursday at 352. Traded as high as $6.09. The volume is still really, really good for this pre-market session. We're doing nearly 1 million shares per 5-minute candlestick on this 5-minute time frame. So what I would like to see happen is send me break back above 590, 588, 590 to look to go long, and we can throw our stops around 550 or wherever the low of this possible flag may be forming here. But I also think this is going to be another stock that's going to be heavily traded within the day trading community. So also keep an eye on this. As far as options contracts, let's see. They do have options contracts available for CEMI. So again, it's a name that's cheap enough to where you can actually just trade it with shares outright. But if you prefer to play it with options, just be cautious that there may be a high spread of it. Spread on the options contracts due to the volatility that's coming in on the stock. So just always be mindful of that, of any of these cheap names that are going to be traded today. Another name I'll just be keeping an eye on was the stock that we traded last week. It was one of our trades of the day last week, and that's CLF. There was no real news on CLF that I've seen. However, what I really like about it is, if you remember back on Wednesday, it had that huge day, gapped up, held the gap, and broke out into the all-time highs, or at least the 5-year high. And then the very next day, Thursday, it had a pullback. However, CLF is actually holding these levels. It's gapping up from the close on Thursday. So I just want to keep an eye on it to see if we can start testing that all-time high again. Because I think CLF, if it can test that all-time high again and break it, I think it's going to pop up on a lot of people's radars. A lot of people are going to remember this name and want to get their hands on it again because it was such a good runner on that day. So it's going to more so be on my B list, but I just want to bring it up for everyone to keep an eye on it in case it does break out of that all-time high. Obviously, we'll be keeping an eye on it if that happens. But if it does happen, it will immediately go to my A list because I think there's going to be a lot of people there to trade it. Another name I'll be keeping an eye on is the overall market, the S&P 500. The S&P 500 is gapping up. It's gapping up nearly 3 points. So we finally are getting that surge to the upside that we were looking for on Thursday. Thursday was a very slow grind to the upside. Today we're gapping up pretty aggressively. But let's see if today can be a gap and go, right? The S&P is bull flagging right now. Pretty much a range of 403.40, 403.45 down to 403.30. So a very, very tight range here on the S&P 500. If we do break above that 403, let's say 403.45, we can play it long, throw our stops around 403.25, give it around 20-cent risk, and the S&P can take off. I think today is going to be a good day for the market. You know, obviously we had, I believe that there was a report that came out on Friday, right, as the market was closed.
Yeah, the jobs report.
The jobs report that blew it out of the water, right? It was supposed to be 900 or 600,000, and the new jobs were like 900,000. So really, really good report. A lot of individual names are having good reports coming out. So I do expect the S&P to be a little strong today. So again, if it breaks out of this 403.45, play it to the upside, throw stops here at 403.20, 403.25, and let's see if we can ride this to the upside. Along with the S&P gapping up, you have the triple Qs gapping up. And one thing that I really like about the triple Qs is remember that key level that we talked about on Thursday, 324.33. We were able to close at 324.57. So we were able to close right at that resistance zone. And today, we're gapping up nearly 3 points above that resistance zone. So what does that mean moving forward? Granted, if today holds, which it looks like it does, the Qs are bull flagging here, we could have a nice rally, maybe up to that all-time high around 338. As of now, there's a possibility that the 324.33 will now serve as a support zone. So keep that in mind moving forward here. This was a very strong resistance zone, and what tends to happen is those strong resistance zones then become support zones as they're penetrated. So keep an eye on the triple Qs. If it does pull back, that could be a key level to look for a bounce. But as of now, the Qs are flagging here. The high is 327.46. Pretty much the low of this range is around 327. So if we want to play it out of the gates to the upside, we can play it long around 327.47. Play it long. We can throw our stops at 327. Give it about a 45, 50 cent risk. If you want to keep it a little tighter, you could throw your stops at the 8 of May around 327.20. But like I said, those are two different ways to play it to the upside. There was one other name. Well, SRNE had died out. That was the other name I was going to mention. For individual names, I would keep an eye on Microsoft. If you guys remember, Microsoft had really good news come out. What was it about on Tuesday or Wednesday?
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of you are swinging call options on Microsoft because of that news. And the thing I really like about Microsoft, very similar to the triple Qs, is that there was a huge resistance zone here around 341, 342 range, and now you're getting, you're starting to see Microsoft break out above that range. So Thursday was the day that it broke out, it closed above that range. Today, we want to see that follow through, and I think if we do see that follow through, Microsoft could definitely test that all-time high of 246 today. So, with that being said, if Microsoft starts to break out above 243, we could definitely play it long, throw our stops around 240, 250, and let's see if we can get some momentum to the upside. If the market is strong today, if the Qs are strong, if the SPYs are strong, if the overall market is strong, keep an eye on Microsoft. Microsoft is a name. Fundamentally, it's really strong. It had a news catalyst last week. And if you start to see Microsoft break out to the all-time highs, I really think this stock could run. So for individual names, for the larger caps, Microsoft is definitely going to be one I'll be keeping an eye on. With that being said, my A-list mostly going to be AMC, CEMI, BPTH, and the overall market, along with NCLH. That's going to be a really good one as well.
Nice. Actually, BPTH, I did buy. I am long. I'm long in this bull flag formation that it's got in pre-market. I'm just gonna throw my stops at like $9, so it's a small risk. I think this could have a nice little run on it. So, well, for everyone on YouTube, thanks for tuning in, guys. We're gonna end the recording here. We'll see you guys later.